What's up, guys? My name's Lewis. I'm from the UK, and I've decided to make a little video to talk about trauma. Mainly because I've started to realise this day and age people are just really struggling with life in general. You know, like, I know so many people who are struggling with anxiety and depression and just mental health, you know, just everyday life, whether it's to do with their past traumas that they haven't dealt with, or it's just today's life is just hard and stressful. And you know, I get it, I understand it, you know, it's not easy. But I've just come to a point in my life where I've started to think and reflect on my past and my past traumas, and you know, it's come to the point where I want to kind of share it with people, because I feel like everything that I've been through in my life can't be for nothing. And what I've been put through there's a reason for that. And I'm just, every day it's just like, I think I need to share this with people so I can have an effect on them, have a positive effect on them. And hopefully maybe inspire people, or just want to get it off my chest, because I feel like if I just don't say anything, or it's just gonna eat away at me, and I think I'm destined for more, you know. So anyway, I'll quickly briefly go into it. Just want to talk about a few, not in crazy detail, just a couple of traumatic experiences that I've been through in my life, and if any of you can relate to it, or you know anybody who's been through similar, or just, you know, you can share this with them and let them know that there is hope and you can get through it. So my name's Lewis. I'm from the UK. I was born in California. So I'm from it started off as a little white English family in Surrey, and they moved to California for work. And I won't go into all the details because I'll be here all night, but so my mum ran away at the age of 12, 13 in Los Angeles, and then she come back after a year, and then ran away again, and for another year, but this time she come back pregnant with me at the age of 15. So yeah, that was obviously hard times for my family then. So she come back pregnant with me. I'm sure she got up to all sorts of crazy stuff, getting involved in gangs and all that, but that's another whole story. But so she come back pregnant with me, and she told me that she was this close, like literally to getting rid of me. And she had a conversation with a mixed race couple, and who she was going to put me up for adoption to, and it was nearly all finalised. And then, well, my mum tells me that as soon as she gave birth to me, as soon as she took one look at my beautiful little face, she just couldn't resist, and she said, "No, that's it, I don't care, I'm keeping him." Well, that's what she tells me anyway, but it's probably for benefits. 2-bedroom flat, which she got. But anyway, no, I'm grateful she kept me in the end. And so yeah, that's that. So I was born in California. She decided to keep me. We come back to the UK after 3 months, and then she got involved with a guy, got married, and then it kind of all went downhill from there, really. She got on the heroin and the crack, and then yeah, it just kind of spiraled from there, really. As you know, well, you don't know, but I'm sure you're aware of living that kind of life and the lifestyle with heroin and drugs, and you know, it's not nice. Like, there's a lot of strange characters and people coming in at my life, you know. There's obviously drugs and needles and tin foil with, you know, stuff on it, and we had never had any food in the house, and my clothes were shit. Like, my teeth were like rotten, like they're literally black growing up. Like, they're not much better now, but they're a bit cleaner, I guess. And yeah, I was just kind of always that kid who was just like, every time I get invited to a birthday party, I would never have a present for my friends. Like, I was always that kid who turned up with nothing, because my mum never had any money, so she didn't know what was going on half the time. So, yeah, I'd never have a present, and it would always be like, it would feel shit, because I wanted to just get involved and contribute and just be a part of it. Because, you know, back in the day, they never used to. Nowadays, they don't open their presents with the kids. They do it. Nowadays, they don't open the presents with the kids. They do it the next day. But back in the day, we'd open the presents all together, and I'd never have anything. But the mum and dad kind of knew. They like read between the lines and knew my situation. And they was alright with it. And I'd always have to like convince my mates and say, look, sorry mate, I'm skint, my mum hasn't been paid, or she's not well, and I shouldn't have to do that at that age, you know. But it was fine. Like, they'd always invite me back next year, so that was a credit to me and for the person I was, and they liked me for who I was and for who I am. So yeah, it's just a little bit like about my upbringing. But there's a couple of traumatic experiences I want to talk about. And one that kind of like springs to mind was one day I was being babysat by a family member of mine. And those who are not familiar with like heroin and how it can make people behave when they're on it, and as one of the like symptoms, as you will, was that people used to like gouge out. And I don't know if you've heard of the word gouge out, but it means that like you just like fuck like that. You're not quite with it. But you're awake, but not awake, conscious, but just fucked, really. So most of the time, I would see adults who are just not with it, like that. So it's not really ideal if you want to get a conversation out of them, but it would be quite useful if you want to steal the remote from your mum. So there's always a positive. So yeah, this time my family member who was looking after me, they wasn't gouging out like normal. I was looking at them, I must have been about 7 or 8. And I was looking at them and they wasn't doing the normal. This time they was leaning back in their chair like that, and their lips were blue. And I was looking at them and I was like, something ain't right here. So I grabbed the phone, I called my mum and I said, Mum, there's something wrong with so-and-so. Their lips are blue and they're not responding to me. And within 5 minutes, my mum's just fucking come steaming through the door with this matey, big fella. I think she was seeing at the time, and he had scars all down his face and scars all over him. He was just a nutter. But anyway, he's come running, he's come steaming in. He's grabbed him around like the person like that, by the scruff of the neck, dragged him into the bathroom, put the cold tap on, and stuck their head under the tap, and then just started slapping him. Wake up, wake up, wake up. And it went on for about 5 minutes, but it just felt like forever. And I'm just there like watching all of this. And yeah, I remember it like it was yesterday. It was mental. But usually when stuff would happen around the house, my mum would always like put me in my bedroom, or so I can't see what's going on, hide me from it. But this all happened so fast, she didn't have the time to just get me away from it, really. So I saw it all. And then the family member who nearly OD'd, you know, after everything they'd been through, that experience wasn't enough for them to quit the next day or next week, or so they used again a couple of weeks later, and they continued to use for the next 20-25 years of their life, which just goes to show that this addiction is a real serious thing. And if you're not ready to give up and to stop doing it, then it's not quite as easy as just flipping the switch and be like, oh, I want to quit now. And people always say, but why don't they just quit? Why don't they just get off it? Mate, it's not easy as that. It has to be something within your soul and your mind to really want to stop. So they continued to use for another 20-25 years after that. So yeah, but I'm happy to say now, both of my family members who were using for a long period of time have now been clean for about, I don't know, I think it's about 7 or 8 years they've both been clean for. So I'm really proud of them for that, and they know who they are, and I love them. and the way they done it was unbelievable on their own. No help, no detox, just willpower, which is unbelievable. So that's one experience that kind of sticks with me. Second thing I want to talk about is that I was in the house on my own with my dad, but he wasn't my dad, it was my brother's dad, who I used to kind of call dad. But it was me and him in the house one day, and he was pacing around being all on edge, and then there was a knock at the door, and he's gone to answer it, and I heard a load of commotion and shouting and stuff, and then I was like, what the hell? So I put my game down and I walked around and looked in the hallway, and there's two men in the hallway on top of him, just like smacking him and kicking him and just basically just beating him up. And I was just standing there watching it, and then they noticed me and was like, oh, it's alright son, you go back in there and sit down. And I just didn't know what to do. I just sat down and felt helpless, just sat on the sofa and just cried, listened to it all until it stopped. So yeah, that was another thing. And then thirdly, this one was a little bit older. I was a teenager, like 13 years old. Got a call from social services, or I think it was my mum's drug worker at the time. She was in detox in Bognor, getting clean. She was always in and out of detox and rehab, and but after school one day I got a phone call saying, Lou, we're going to take you up to Bognor to see your mum after school one evening. I was like, okay, this is a bit weird. After school on a weekday, it's an hour and a half drive, like, it's not normal. I was like, okay. Anyway, so my uncle come with me, and we drove up there, and then we got there and they sat me in some room, and my mum came out with a support worker or whoever it was, and she sat down and she said, Lou, there's a couple of things I wanted to talk to you about and tell you. One of them is that I was raped for you to be born. And I was just like, what the fuck, mate? It just hit me like a ton of bricks. I was just like, fucking hell. I was so shocked, and I just didn't know what to feel. And I was just bawling, just crying my eyes out, because I was more upset for her, because of what she'd been through, or what she must have been through. That must have been horrendous for her to go through that at such a young age. I was just thinking of that. I was just thinking about me and my just loads of stuff. There's so much to think about. It was just mental. So I wasn't really sure, I understand that when people are in recovery, they encourage them to talk about their past, or let go of things, or share things that have been eating away at them for so long, and so they can let go of it and move forward. And this was obviously one of them things that was that my mum was holding on to, and they obviously felt that she needed to explain it to me for her to move on. Excuse me. But I understand it from their point of view, but I'm not sure they looked at it from my perspective, from a young teenager, for that just to be dumped on them like that. I don't wish I'm glad it happened to me now, because I got to understand it and I got to process it, and I'm glad that I knew. But from a professional point of view, I'm not sure if it was the right thing to do. They just picked me up, took me to this place, dumped this information on me, and then just sent me on my way and was like, see you later. And I was just fucking crushed. So I just went home that day and just fucking smoked loads of weed, just to bloody forget about it, really. I used to do it a lot, smoke loads of weed and take drugs and that, just to numb myself from myself, from my own feelings and thoughts. So there's just a free traumatic kind of experience that just spring to mind. So I've got loads I can talk about, but so then just quickly move on from that. About when I turned 20 years old, I was out with my friends, and then I got a phone call from my nan saying that my mum had died from an overdose. And again, that just hit me so hard, because she was basically my best friend, and she was my biggest fan, and I loved her. Even though what she put us through growing up, me and my brothers, I have two younger brothers as well, even though what she put us through, and she basically neglected me and neglected us. Not by choice, she didn't wanted to neglect us, but when you're an addict and you've got all these other priorities to feed your addiction, sadly your children aren't always your priority. And the times when she was clean for a year or 2 years, we had some like good times, and I knew she loved us. Any contact my brothers had or we had, my mum would always be there. Whether she had to get the train, she'd always be there. She loved us, and I felt that within her. So I think that's one thing that I kind of had that to get me through stuff. But so when I found out my mum died, I basically had a choice to make, really, because I was on a bit of a downhill spiral anyway, because I had no purpose. I didn't really have any male role models, or because everyone around me was raising me was on the gear that they were using. So it was quite hard for me. So I was just doing drugs, smoking weed, getting pissed, getting up to trouble, getting arrested, fighting. Just had no purpose. I didn't really have any direction. I didn't know where I was going. It's just a bit of shit, really. I was just kind of stuck, and I'd get a job for a couple of months and then I'd quit and leave because I just couldn't be bothered, and shit attitude. But then when Mum died, I thought, do you know what? I've got to fucking step up now. I've got 2 younger brothers who've just lost their mum, and they're younger than me. So now I need to be a bit of a role model for them to look up to and learn from. So I thought, fuck it. So I just literally, I'm just going to get a steady job. I'm just going to keep it. Start from there, get a job and keep it. So I just got a job in little Tesco's, little shop, just stacking shelves and, serving people on the till. And I just done that for like 3 years. Right? It weren't perfect. I still had some ups and downs. I still got up to mischief and that, but at least I had a foundation and a solid base to work from, and I had a steady income. And I just made a few better choices, and then slowly my life just was going up. It had a few ups and a few turns, but it's been on the up since. And now I've got a nice, an okay job that I'm happy with. It's not my dream job. I'm a water hygiene engineer. I've got my own flat. I've got 2 beautiful children. I'm grateful for the person I am. I drive. I'm one of the first people in my family to actually drive, which is a fucking miracle anyway. So yeah, I've got food in the cupboards. I've got clothes on my back. I've got a roof over my head. I'm just grateful for the person I am. I try and have a smile every day. I just try to be positive, and yeah, and I think what's just helped is just having that love. And I've always been quite athletic, and I do like to compete, and I like to do sports. I've done boxing quite a lot on and off my life. I've recently been doing jiu-jitsu for the last few years, and I absolutely love it. I recommend it for anybody. And the last few years I've started doing like personal development on myself, and I've been doing a bit of journaling here and there, started to read more, and started to look back on my life and understand it, and understand who I am, and why I would do the things I would do, and why I would struggle. And it's okay. It's not my fault that I got put in that situation, so it's okay. I can let it go, and I can just be kind to myself, and I can let it go. It doesn't, it's done. I want to start looking forward rather than looking back, and I can process it now. I can talk about it, and in a way I'm glad it happened to me, because I wouldn't be Lou, and I love the person I am. And I know the title of the video says raised by junkies, and it sounds a bit shocking, but I love them people who did raise me. They've taught me a lot, so I'm just grateful for everything. And yeah, and if this video can go out to anybody and influence them in a positive way and inspire anybody, if you know anybody who's been through similar stuff, please share it with them. And if you want to contact me, you can email me, and I'll be happy to have a chat with you and listen. And I love just talking to people and connecting, and I don't think there's enough of that in the world at the minute. So yeah, please feel free to get in contact with me. Yeah, thanks for listening, guys. Thanks.